The issue, though, that we're seeing come forward in spades with Shiloh Hendricks is that more of a confirmation that there are white people who want nothing to do with being redeemed. They want nothing to do with being the hero in our story. The whole notion of not being a selfish individualist, of achieving individual well-being by way of our group's well-being, has become so anathema to them that if we were alien biologists, maybe we would say that they were slated for genetic oblivion. Maybe this cauldron that we're in, this crucible that we're in, is intended to produce, or if there's no greater scheme to it, will inevitably produce, as sure as gravity pulls things in one direction, to an outcome that excludes those whose selfish individualism and or whose poisoning with anti-whiteism is so pure that they must be removed from the biospirit of our people. They cannot be allowed for their frailties, their broken instincts, their misfit attitudes to be propagated to the next generation. Just as sure as the natural environment harshly removes, trims away from every animal species that which is not suited to the environment. White people, as far as we know, have spent a long time in environments that are very hostile, very cold much of the year. The number of years that we can plant and food and reap the harvests are few. And we had to work together. We had to be very trusting of each other. To be trusting of each other meant that we had to be trustable. So there were a lot of environmental pressures that carved out a very specific white race that, in its association with other groups of mankind who didn't necessarily have the same pressures, act as individuals among collectives. And we can see how much of a detriment that is to our people, to us as individuals, because a detriment to the people to which we belong. So it might be that the unredeemable are antiquated. It might be that they're unfit for the new world. It might be that they would have worked out just fine if we lived in a 100% white environment and nothing and no one else was anywhere nearby. But that age is gone. That's not coming back in our lifetimes, at least. And that's what matters for those of us today, is what are we going to do with our lives, with our lives? Are we going to complain for the totality of our lives? Are we going to play the villain in someone else's narrative, the anti-white narrative? The narrative that the blacks live by to the best of their ability, that they create and live by? The narrative that the Jews live by or create or live by? Or are we going to be the heroes in our story? So all of the talk about segregation, all of the talk about splitting up the peoples, none of that is happening in our lives. So in other words, it's to say that you're a coward or too dumb or any number of reasons for not actually getting active in resolving the problem. These people will inevitably be trimmed away. They are the unredeemable. They are the ones who, no matter the pressure, are destined, no matter the pressure from our arguments, no matter the pressure from our victories with these tools, they are the ones that, no matter that pressure, are destined to be trimmed away from our people by the pressure of our environment, the natural environment and the social environment that we can no longer escape. The white race that comes out of that inescapable social environment will be adept at doing what the white race could not do going into it. These are the unredeemable. And we need to use that word with gravity. It's a sad reality that there clearly are folks that nothing will help. Unfortunately, as we recapture our destiny, some of these people will be swept up. And in a future white nirvana, we'll have to find ways to identify problematic, selfishly individualistic people. And I'm sure that our brilliant sons and daughters of that age will identify. Maybe it'll be as simple as going into our genetics and removing those pieces.